In a sweeping effort to support student success and improve grading practices, all transitional kindergarten through 6th grade students in Manteca Unified will transition to using a standards-based report card in fall 2024. This means that your child's report card will look a bit different. Instead of traditional grades A, B, C, D, F, or ESN, students will now receive marks next to each grade level standard, measuring whether or not they have met a standard. Importantly, this update will replace the conversation around good or bad grades. Rather, it should shift the conversation to focus on what your child has learned and has yet to learn. As educators, we know that TK through 6th grade are crucial years that lay the foundation for a child's learning path. So, how will new report cards affect MUSD families? Let's jump in. Why standards-based report cards? Standards-based report cards are a tool that allows teachers to clearly communicate learning progress, grade level standards, habits of success, and more. Now, when a student in TK through 6th grade receives a report card, they will be evaluated on their ability to meet a standard or learning goal, rather than the percentage of work they complete in subject areas like math, science, and English language arts. This change represents an exciting shift towards more refined and equitable grading practices in our district. So, how exactly do standards-based report cards differ from traditional report cards? In a traditional grading system, there is room for grading bias, which means that a student's grades might not show how well they are actually understanding a standard. This is because their grade is affected by things like extra credit, zeros, or homework. Under a traditional system, students receive letter grades based on a percentage of work done. Overall grades are an average of work complete, and one single grade is given per subject or course. In a standards-based system, grades, or marks, are more concerned with how a student is progressing towards standards. Essentially, we don't need to know if a student has an A in math. We need to know if a student is successfully doing long division, which will influence their success in math later. This is why, using a standards-based report card system, our district will be focused on students' individual learning goals, growth, and progress towards standards, measuring student achievement through evidence without extra credit or zeros, and giving students marks based on how they are currently performing, not averaging their performance overall. This kind of transparency will give families a better understanding of their child's progress. Instead of simply receiving a good or bad letter grade or percentage, families will now know their child's learning goals or grade level standards, how their child is meeting said goals to reach a standard, and where their child might need extra help. With clearly defined standards, students, teachers, and parents can work together to identify strengths and address areas of improvement, enhancing the overall learning experience and supporting the success of every student. What are standards? The California Department of Education establishes what students should learn in each grade level, known as state standards. It is up to local school districts to teach to those standards. For the last 3 years, district elementary teachers and MUSD's reporting committee work to identify essential standards in math, English language arts, science, history, physical education, and more, that students will be assessed or evaluated on. These standards build upon each other as a student progresses through Manteca Unified. For example, let's take a look at geometry standards. In 2nd grade, students need to know how to draw a rectangle and know that it has 4 sides, 4 right angles, and opposite parallel sides. In 4th grade, students need to know how to identify shapes and angles based on what they look like knowing that a stop sign is an octagon and has 8 sides. And in 6th grade, students need to know how to find the volume of rectangular prisms using a formula. How will standards-based report cards affect my family? Standards-based report cards will not change what children are learning in class. It will just change how their progress is tracked and reported. In MUSD, students will receive one of the following marks in each standard. Exceeded. A student has demonstrated mastery of grade level standards and can extend and apply concepts with a greater depth of understanding to new situations. Proficient. A student demonstrates mastery of grade level standards. Approaching. A student shows basic understanding and is progressing towards mastery of the grade level standard. Beginning. A student is beginning to demonstrate understanding, but is not yet meeting grade level standards. Approaching and beginning marks are not meant to be a bad mark. It just means that more instruction and/or learning is needed. Rarely, you may see insufficient on a report card, which means that a student has not demonstrated enough evidence to assess a standard. Transitioning away from bad or good grades, we simply want to know what students know and help them learn what they don't. Here's a glimpse of how our standards-based reporting process might look like in action. Keisha is a student in Miss Frizzle's 4th grade class. As a teacher, Miss Frizzle works to teach all of her students so they can meet standards across various subjects. In Trimester 1, Keisha demonstrates a proficient ability to solve multi-step word problems. However, as Miss Frizzle introduces new standards, like adding and subtracting fractions, Keisha's performance shows that she is approaching in that standard. So, when Keisha's parents look at her report card, they can see that she's doing well in some areas, but might need some extra help with her fractions. In a traditional report card, Keisha might have received a C for the average of her math scores. Similarly, Keisha could have also received an A grade if she did all of her homework and earned extra credit points. In both cases, Keisha's parents wouldn't know exactly how she's doing in math. Now when her parents meet with Miss Frizzle, they can discuss her current skill level and set goals for improvement in fractions during Trimester 2. You might be wondering, why will only TK through 6th grade be receiving standards-based report cards? During these crucial years, it is far more beneficial for students and their families to focus on developing skills and learning growth rather than what letter grade students will receive. As educators, our goal is to set students up for success, building knowledge and confidence before they reach a junior high when letter grades will begin, and ultimately high school when letter grades are referenced for college admissions. This important change will further support our commitment to helping all students realize individual success and achieving grade-level standards. This will also transform grading practices across Manteca Unified, ensuring that no matter where a child goes to school, they are learning and being evaluated equitably. As a parent or caretaker, you play a big role in your child's learning. One of the most important ways you can support your child's learning at home is to acknowledge areas where your child needs help and communicate with their teacher for ways that you can help them meet learning goals at home. Thank you for your partnership in education. For more information, please visit www.mantecausd.net/reportcards.